Hey everyone, this week we are talking about blocks and endings and what they mean. So, this is a live channeled reading part of a 4-part series called Trust the Nudge. It's complementing a paid course that I'm doing called Trust the Nudge. And this is my way of giving everybody the opportunity to engage the material, whether you choose to invest in the course or not. And so, right now, we are at a time in our planet where there is a tremendous amount of angel support to our journeys. And the angels speak through gentle communication, through nudges. They don't like giving bonks over the head. They don't like giving shoves. They don't really want to do anything in aggressive manner. Sometimes your spirit guides will because they got to. But for the most part, angels really communicate in this very gentle way. And when I was in a meditation and I was talking to the angels, they wanted this to come out because they really wanted everyone to understand how to receive and work with the communication that they are sending, primarily to trust the nudges that you're getting. Now, last week we talked about potentiality, and before that, we were talking about signs and synchronicities. Today, we're going to talk about, to me, what is probably the most controversial sign or the most difficult sign to work with, which is blocks and endings. And it's one of the most common questions I get is this block a sign that I should go a different way, or is it something that I should push through? And, the pushing through is the idea that it's a test, right? That it's a test to see how committed you are. Now, for the most part, I do agree that sometimes something will be put up in our way that is resistance because we need to build the muscle to have the experience that we're going towards. Maybe the muscle that we need to build is the ability to stand up for ourselves, to speak up for ourselves, to get used to letting other people down, right? These are all things that can bring up resistance, but it's important that we work through the resistance. So how do you tell the difference? Well, I'm going to speak to it for a couple of minutes, but then we're going to do the reading on it. If you're new here, by the way, I am Patty Lennon. I am an intuitive. I'm also a former banker, and I have a master's in psychology. And the reason I tell you that is that you understand that when I'm talking here, I am not just channeling, which I will be doing, but I also like to bring in the real material and psychological factors that keep us from succeeding in partnership with spirit. And what I mean by that is, we get tons of help. We don't always use the help. Why is that? Our brains or our egos, right? That's really what it comes down to. So if that's information that you'd like, please subscribe below so you'll be notified every time I go live. All right. So a few things I want to talk about is that the way that you tell the difference between a block that's redirecting you versus resistance that's inviting you to develop a muscle is that, for a very simplified explanation, think about how you'll feel on the other side of that perceived block or resistance. So, for instance, you decide to start a business and you're really excited about it, and you come home and you're so excited and you tell your partner you're going to start your business, and they bring up all of these like fears, and they basically tell you, no, you cannot risk our financial livelihood because you have a whim to start a business. And that could feel like a block, right? And then and then you feel bad, and then maybe that's a sign. Maybe that's a sign to not do it, right? When you think about moving through that experience with your partner and them eventually understanding your perspective and starting a business, Does that bring lighter energy to you? Do you get excited thinking about it? If you do, then most likely that resistance that's up is there for you to build the muscle. Meaning, if you're going to have your own business, you can't be worried about everyone's opinion about that business. You have to rely on yourself. And also, you want to find a way to bring people along with you. And so if you surprise your partner with this information, you may need to learn the skill on how to bring people along on your story. That may be a skill you need in running your business. As opposed to you have the same scenario, but the reason you start thinking about having your own business is really because your boss is just a real PIA, right? And you're just tired and you're like, I don't feel like going to this job anymore. And you know what would get me out of this? Oh, I guess I could start my own business. And you come home and you tell your partner and they're like, no. And when you think about getting to the other side of that, it feels heavy. Like starting your business feels heavy. It doesn't feel like relief. That is a block. That's a redirection, right? Because what it's really showing you is, yes, you need to leave this situation, but the first thing you thought of that's going to take you out of this situation probably isn't your ideal one. So let's start to think about what some other options are. Now, that's a really big one, but sometimes we can hit blocks, really minor blocks. We think we're following the signs. We think we're following the nudges. We book the trip and then we get to the airport and our flight's canceled, right? What? Did I get the nudges wrong? Is this proof I'm not supposed to be going on the flight? Well, that's not really valuable questioning. And where the angels are guiding us right now, specifically because the time we're on in the planet, which is vibrationally very volatile, is to be in this moment. And right now, your flight is canceled. The only thing you need to know is that you're just not getting on that flight. And what you need to do is to bring yourself into this moment. Bring yourself into this moment to know where to go next. Because if a block shows up and it is a redirection, you're going to have a nudge on where to go. But if you're too busy worrying about the future or worrying that you got the past wrong, you're not going to be able to get the nudge that's taking you forward. So today we're going to do a reading about understanding when blocks show up, or understanding what can feel even worse than a block is an ending, right? We lose a job, we lose a relationship, we lose our wallet, right? Well, I guess that's not really an ending. But something ends and it feels bad. The fact that it feels bad, it can conclude that we somehow missed signs, or we're understanding it wrong, or we're confused and we think that spirit isn't supporting us. But a lot of times, especially for the time that we're in, those bad feelings are really residual of a healing that is attempting to happen within you, but your brain is trying to control it. Your brain is the one judging the fact that losing this job is bad, and yet your soul is thrilled. Your soul is thrilled. If you can let go of the fears your brain is producing, what you will find is there's an elevation and an escalation of energy within you. And if you can tap more into that elevation and that escalation of the higher purpose of this ending or the block, what comes next will show itself. All right, so we're going to do a reading. Woo, one card just dropped out. Choice. We'll talk about that in a second. All right. And we are going to, they're telling me to mind my business. I'm not going to pick the reading. They'll tell me when I'm done. They'll tell me once I've picked enough cards, they will tell me what the cards mean. So I'm going to let them do what they're telling me to do. And when I get enough cards, then looks like, are you done? They're done. They're done. But I did keep getting this card. And so I was asking them about it. And this is a personal sign. Apparently, I've been drinking too much coffee. So they're just telling me to drink some water before I move on. Maybe that was a sign for you. Do you need to drink some more water? Okay. So the first card up is choice. So we said I'll speak to it in a second. Next card is starlight. Next card is full moon. And I love that starlight and full moon are next to each other. We'll talk about that in a second. And finally, let go. Let go. So, oh my God, you guys, I'm moving so quickly. I even forgot the full question that I asked when I was pulling the cards. Okay, so exactly what are we reading on is how to bring ourselves back into this moment so we can move into the elevated experience of whatever the block and ending is and release the fear. So, and it's interesting because we just got off a call on Trust the Nudge on the actual program, and this came through as a message as well, which is we are in a time where making a choice can really accelerate the completion of a healing, the completion of a lesson. And what this looks like is the choice to complete it, the choice to engage it. And so what that would look like in the example of losing a job is to make the choice to honor this as your path, as scary as it might feel or as disruptive as it feels. Like, I am committing to being in the experience that this ending is bringing me. That's a choice. You can also choose to stay in another vibration, in fear or in worry, which is completely reasonable. And they want you to know, if you make that choice, they do not judge you and they will stay with you. Your angels will stay with you and they'll help you. So just ask for help. But if you would like to move through the challenge, the lesson that is being presented by the challenge, by the block, by the ending, to choose it, to choose to know what this is and to move through it and honor it's going to take you wherever it takes you, which means letting go of attachment to where it takes you, that will accelerate it very quickly. And there's something that I want to stress is that it can be hard to do that because you're like, where is it taking me? Is it taking me to becoming homeless? Like, no, I do not like that. I do not want that. I would like to pay my bills. So no, I'm not okay with losing my job. But here's the thing. As you engage it, as you engage the angel's energy, as you engage the path that you're being guided on, the place you're being taken is only ever going to be to an elevated vibrational state, meaning it is only ever going to be better for you than the place you're coming from. Now, your mind might want to attach to what it thinks better is. That's not what we're talking about. This is just knowing where you're going. Once you get there, it will feel better than where you were. But as you're traveling that distance and you're in between, your old mind, your lower vibrating mind, may have an opinion for the destination being not preferable. And we don't want to let our minds dictate what spirit already knows, what your soul already knows. So that's first. So, okay, I choose, but then what? Then what? And these cards are working together. Then we move into a place that is more like nighttime, where we don't have the sun of illumination, right? The awareness, the clarity, all the light that we're used to. But what we do have is we have moonlight and we have starlight. We have moonlight and we have starlight. And so moonlight is really the essence of our intuition, our divine feminine, right? Our receptivity. And starlight in this deck, in this card, in the way it's intended, is it's got two meanings. First, it's your own ability to sparkle from within. It's the light within. And it is also the understanding that you are not alone, right? That there's other stars there with you. And the more stars that are around you, the clearer it is out, right? The brighter it is. And the key is to align with stars that are similar to you vibrationally, that are similar brightnesses. This doesn't mean like other people that are looking for a job in the example we're using. We're talking about people that are vibrationally similar to you. and allowing yourself to be oriented to them, and you will be called to them. You will be called to them. So you are navigating by your inner light and your inner wisdom and your soul's wisdom, which means taking what society says out, really like allowing your brain to take a rest, which may make it hard on your brain because your brain probably wants to have a lot of opinions, but you're calling yourself down into your heart center, and you're just getting your moment of truth in this moment. And then finally, letting go. And this is about surrendering the journey to the divine, trusting that the divine will only take you somewhere better. So that is our reading for this week. Trying to keep them short and sweet so they're easy to digest. Choose where you're being guided. Choose to go where you're being guided. Choose to let your soul guide the way. Focus on your inner light and your divine wisdom, and then surrender. Let go. Once you let go, magic can happen very quickly, and that is my wish for you. All right. So again, make sure you subscribe below if you don't already subscribe so you are alerted the next time I go live, and I wish you an amazing rest of your day. Mwah.